Chava Shimon should have an aliyah.
You posted a video of Mateva that's here or in Montreal?
I drove to Philadelphia.
Oh.
She's married in Philadelphia.
Okay, let's be Mila to sushi and to
You had a good birthday, Mandy? I just completed his birthday.
Mazel Tov.
Mini Jesus, right?
2 days. 2 days.
Why? It's
Yom Arichta.
Okay, we are on Daf Chaf Aleph on base. We're going to go back a little bit just to finish off what we started last week, and we kind of didn't finish. We left it hanging in the middle. Before that, I said last week we're going to circle back regarding Avelos on Tisha B'Av. If someone is an Avel on Tisha B'Av, as of a Pashtos, from quick lens that I look, and I didn't have a chance to look into just simple halachas valem, it would make sense that an Avel that is sitting Shiva and Tisha B'Av falls out during Shiva, he should be allowed to go to Shul because everyone is technically in Avelos. And the halacha is taka like that an Avel can go, and some people have a difference if he has to walk himself because it's still an Avel, or he can walk with others, but an Avel during Shiva can go to Shul and sit and do Eicha and everything.
Could or should?
Interesting.
If you can have a minion at home, no, make a minion at home, but he technically could. He could.
Because everybody's in available.
Yeah, it's not everyone is available, so it's not really everyone is sitting in. I don't believe that there is nicham available that day. This is why I can go deeper. Is a nicham available? Everyone is an oval, so mishtal from here is mishtal shul many halachas. So, but basically, an oval can go to shul on Tisha B'Av. Okay.
I just came from an oval house.
Oh.
Mandalay, Lady Lane.
Oh, shakal. Okay, so in our Mishnah, not a Mishnah, in the beginning on page Daf Chaf Aleph from what base, almost like 7 lines from the beginning. We're not going to go there, but over there was a Talmud Rabbanan, and they basically divided the oval into a segment of 1 to 3 days, from 1 to the 3rd day, the 3rd to the 7th, 7 to the 30th, until the end of the year, the rest of the year. So the Mishnah over there, the Talmud Rabbanan said over there that the first 3 days, Oval is not allowed to speak. Sheila Shalom is not allowed to greet anyone, and obviously not to answer to anyone's greeting. From 3 to 7, he cannot greet, but if he's greeted, he can answer. He can say back.
Stop. What would be the heter? Today, a lot of people they sit 3 days here, then you get on a plane and you go sit somewhere else. One goes to sit somewhere else. In Vasquez State,
it's for public relations, so it's good.
So you have to understand.
Vasquez State that you're allowed.
First of all, obviously we know that there's an union of 3 days and 7, and 3 to 7. The first 3 days are most the strictest days, but this is actually something we're going to talk about. What exactly is Nicham Avelim? What exactly is the purpose of Nicham Avelim?
They're going Wednesday morning to Florida. Is that because it's after 3 days, Kilo?
Can sein, or there could be they're doing it mitzat covered a mess, or can do it for themselves. Nicham Avelim.
Yeah, but it means you're getting up, you're going out of the house, you're sitting on a plane.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I know people that, when my wife was sitting Shiva and I came gedacht, she didn't sleep in the house, she left by us. She walked home. People do it. It's not,
What? The person no room.
That could also be in a room. Whatever. She lives here. She had her own bed here. So what is exactly is the Nicham Avelim? So the Nicham Avelim, the right, and especially the later Meforshim right, is basically the idea of Nicham Avelim is to sit with an oval, and as soon as he starts talking, because he's not supposed to start, this oval is supposed to start talking. As soon as you start talking, you're supposed to talk to the oval and try to actually get him distracted from the avelos until he calms down. Yeah, speak about the person that passed away, and speak about the greatness of the person, the good stories, until slowly you, which we see today in any oval house, not like openly, but many avelim, if you sit long enough, you sit the avelim is sitting and they are cracking jokes. Lachte on side. When my grandfather passed away, it was a very sad day because we were very close with my grandfather, and my uncles came, my mother sitting Shiva, and we came to visit my mother for Shiva. I was a 7-year-old kid then, and it was the saddest day in my life. and they're sitting there, and I come to the house, and all I see walking in the house, and I see
That's the
four
top.
Gimel Tammuz.
Ah, okay.
So the what's it called? Everyone is just rolling of laughter, joking, this and that. The siblings are sitting quietly together. But the idea is
They're reminiscing
Yeah.
about life, and that's how it was.
that's how it is. So the idea of Avelis is they write in the Sfarim. The idea of Avelis is that you sit and you talk to the oval and you get him distracted from the Avelis. You try to calm him down. Only at the end do you say, according to the Sfarim, you say, according to us, we say, Amakim Nachem Eschem, Derech Shavel Sima Shalom. The Eibishter should console, because only Eibishter can give you the consolation. The Sfarim say, Min HaShemayim Tenachamu, from the himmel, from the skies, the Eibishter should give you the Nachama. But whatever, those words are not the main. That's not the main thing of Nicham Avelim. Nicham Avelim, they write in many places that the main thing of Nicham Avelim is pashat, to sit with the person and try to calm them, talk to him about the person that died, talk to him about basically to let his mind rest, calm down. Not only that, it brings the Shloh HaKadosh brings down. And the name of the Mata, and they bring that from the Mata Moshe and all different places. I checked this up. That what's it called? That the Mata Moshe writes. The Mata Moshe was in the time, I believe, of Achron. I forgot right now around what time it was. But he wrote, whoever is Malbe, whoever goes in Menachem Avelim, he will be Zoiche to see the Nechama of the Beis Hamikdash. So there is an Indian of going to Menachem Avelim, not just a Chambarai, Menachem Eschem, and accordingly, the later common poskim basically write that it's better to be Menachem Avelim in person rather than over the phone. All these things, but Nicham Avelim in a way could also be a selfish thing. You go there because the more you do it, you have a schus by calming the oval down, and we see the Avelus comes from the title that the Eibush that came was Menachem Oval Adam. It was Menachem Yitzchak, and it was Menachem Oval Yaakov, and he benched him. So we see Avelus is that the Eibush did it, and it's something that should be done, something we should do as often as we can, obviously, and as much as we can. And the idea is not only saying the Makim Menachem Eschem, but sitting with the Oval, talking to him, schmoozing, and trying to get his mind off the terrible thing that happened. And like this, you are literally being Menachem, you are consoling the Oval. That's the idea of Nicham Avelim. So now, sometimes, in order to achieve that, yes, you'll travel to a different place. You'll go to Florida because this is what helps the family. This is what helps the surrounding family. This is how they calm down. I want to sit with my brother's, my brother's family that passed away. In any case, this is the what's it called. So the Mishnah in the beginning of the Chav and base, the Tana Rabbanan brings down a Mishnah. They said as like, first 3 days, an oval is not allowed to greet or be greeted. Basically, if someone greets him, he cannot answer. The second part is from day 3 to day 7, an oval can answer a greeting, but he should not initiate a greeting. He should not first ask someone how he is doing. From 7 and on, he can, over there, the Tana Rabbanan says, from 7 and on, you can greet, you can be greeted. Then we have, and this is what we're going to learn now, in the middle of the page Chav Aleph from the base, it brings down Megimel Ve'at Zayin. Yeah, it's the first half of the page. Megimel Ve'at Zayin, at the end of the first half of the page, Megimel Ve'at Zayin, Meishiv Ve'enoi Shoyl. Right? Megimel Ve'at Zayin, there's a Tosfos Mikan Ve'elech. If you look in the middle of that Tosfos into the Gemara, that's what it is. Megimel Ve'at Zayin, Meishiv Ve'enoi Shoyl, from day 3 to day 7. He answers the greeting, but he does not ask, he does not initiate a greeting. Mikan Ve'elech, from 7 and on, Shoyel, he asks, Umeishiv, and he answers, Kedalake, just regular. So Gemara asks a question, Vedaminu. Let's ask a question. If you find your friend, and he is an Avel within the 30 days, he speaks with him about Inyan Tanchum, he speaks with him about Inyan Avelis, and Nichum Avelim. He asks him how he's doing, not how he's doing, but he's asking him. He's basically been Menachem Oval. Sorry, he's not asking how he's doing. He's doing the Nichum Avelim. Ve'ena Shoyel B'Shloimeh does not ask him at all how he's doing. After 30 days, Shoyel B'Shloimeh, he could ask him. Ve'ena B'Dam Imo Tanchum, he should not mention any words of Tanchum. He should not mention the deceased person or anything like that. So in the first Mishnah we mentioned, we say day number 1 to 3, don't greet, don't be greeted. Day 3 to 7, you can be greeted, but don't greet. And 7 and on, you can do whatever you want. Here we see for 30 days, no one should greet him and he should not answer a greeting. So we see the Mishnah and the Braisa don't work together. Yeah? Then the Braisa adds another piece, which is not so relevant now for this question, but it's the finishing of the Braisa. Meisa Ishtoi, if the person set shiva for his wife, and v'nasa isha cheres, and within the 30 days he married another woman, and we mentioned this last week. The Tosfos explains there's a few different ways why, a few different reasons why a person would be allowed to marry a woman within 30 days. One of them is if he has very little kids and he needs someone to take care of them, so he can marry another woman during the shloshim. In general, a husband only has inyana avelos for 30 days for a husband or wife. They only have 30 days of avelos. They don't have a whole year. After 30 days, it's just the thing is finished. So here it's within 30 days. Halachically, today a husband loses a wife. He only is sit shiva, and after 30 days, but a shloshim, his year of avelos is done. And the same thing with a wife and a husband. But here, he marries someone within 30 days, and one reason is because he has little kids. The other reason would be that he doesn't have any kids. And if you don't have any kids, you have a mitzvah of plurivul, that supersedes a mitzvah of avelus, and you're allowed to get married. So anyways, one of these two cases, and he meets his friend that just got remarried, walking with his wife. He's not to walk, definitely not to walk into his house where his new wife is living with him, to speak to him about nichum avelim, to console him, because it's not fair, it's not nice, it's not right for the new wife. You're going and you're mentioning the first wife. You're not supposed to do that. But if he meets him in the marketplace by himself, with a quiet voice, it tells him, with a lowered head, tells him nichum avelim. He tells him that it's because it's within 30 days still. He tells him amakim nachmes, or whatever it is, he needs to talk to him about the inyanet adchum nichum avelim. So we see from, basically the question is, again, we see from this Braisa that within 30 days, a person should not greet, and an oval should not answer back any greetings. In the Mishnah, which we mentioned before, we see that from day 7 you can do regular, from day 3 you can even answer. So what is going on here? Amar Rav Idi ba'avan Rav Idi answered. So here, this is how it goes. Hu shoyel b'shloim acherim. He can greet someone else. So when the Mishnah over here says that he can from day 7 and on he can greet, means he can greet anyone he wants. Why? Because anyone else is not sitting shiva. No one else is in an oval. So the person that's sitting shiva can greet anyone else that's not sitting shiva. Hu shoyel b'shloim acherim. He can ask anyone else how they are doing. Sha'acherim shloim b'shalom, because all the other people, they're peaceful. They're not sitting shiva. They're not sitting navelos. Acherim, others, ain't shoyel b'shalom. They cannot ask him how he's doing. Shu ein shalom, because until 30 days he's not sitting peaceful. Therefore, the second Braisa, when it says until 30 days, it means that no one can greet him. However, the first Mishnah that speaks about that he can answer a greeting, it means that he can greet others because the others are not sitting shiva. But that doesn't make sense, because the first Mishnah really said that he cannot greet from day 3 to 7, but he can be greeted and can answer a greeting. And here we see that no one should ask him, that people shouldn't greet him for 30 days. That's what Gemara is asking right away. So David ben Avin has a very interesting answer, but his answer doesn't make sense because Nisha doesn't make sense because he said that others should not greet him for 30 days. And in the first Mishnah we see that he could be greeted after the day 3. For the Gemara, in the Mishnah in the beginning it says that he can answer. He's answering what? He's answering someone's question, someone finding out how he's doing. He's answering that, so that means that within 30 days you can greet an oval. And from what Rabbi Ida Ba'avin is trying to say, that within 30 days you shouldn't greet an oval, but an oval can greet you. So that doesn't make sense. Everything was right. Yeah. Everything was the lo yadi. The people that greet the oval don't know that he is an oval. We'll make sense in a moment of this whole thing. So basically, they don't know he's an oval, so they greet him. So he's allowed to answer. But he can. What? Yeah, but he cannot. But he should not initiate.
So a ganze Mishnah just to teach you that.
Yeah. So wait. Ihache. If that's the case, we're talking about someone who doesn't know that he's an avel. Why do you say that only an avel from day 3 can answer? You should say that an avel from day 1 should be able to answer someone. Why? Because let's say we're talking about someone that doesn't know you're sitting Shiva, doesn't know you're an avel. He greets you, so tell him, answer him, but you know to initiate. And for the Gemara, so this is the difference. Day 1 to day 3, if someone greets you, you don't answer the greeting. You let him know, I can't answer you, I'm an avel. That's day 1 to day 3. Day 3 to day 7, no one should greet you. However, if someone greets you because they don't know that you're an avel, you could answer the greeting. You don't have to explain, I'm an avel, I can't answer you. So day 1 to day 3, no one should ask you. If the person asks you, tell them I can't answer you, I'm an avel. Day 3 to 7, no one should greet you again. But if someone greets you because they don't know, you can answer. You don't have to let them know. Hasam Moed v'loy mahadlo. He lets them know that he's an avel, v'loy mahadlo, but doesn't answer the greeting. Hacho, from day 3 to day 7 and on, he doesn't have to even to let them know. He doesn't have to let them know there's an avel. He answers that. Okay, so the first Mishnah is talking about day number 1, day number 3. We're talking about someone who is greeting him, someone that doesn't know. And the second B'dais, he's saying the actual halacha that for 30 days he should not greet someone. It's still not 100% clear. That's why Gemara goes weiter and asks, "V'leminu." We ask another question. If someone meets his friend within 12 months, we're not talking 30 days, now 12 months, a person is called an avel for 12 months. He speaks to him about Inonat and Chum. He's saying, he does not greet him in the regular way. After 12 months, go on to whatever you need. Talk to him. And he should not speak to him about Inonat and Chum. Aval medaber imoy minatzad. Quietly on the side, you mention a few things about Avelis.
Is this all because he's married again, or Lavdak has nothing to do? That was just that one case.
No, that was that one case. Yeah. Okay. So after 12 months, you should not mention it loudly, but quietly you just mention something. You throw in a word.
Rashi says,
yeah. So there's two things. You don't. Like I mentioned before, the Indian of Nichum Avelim is speaking to someone about the death, calming him down. You're talking. That whole thing does not apply anymore. You can say I'm thinking about you. You can say but don't start talking about the person who passed away. This guy's not trying to forget, but just trying to get over his thing. Don't reawaken the entire trauma and everything that happened. But you just say that, and they should console you. But don't bring up the entire thing. That's what it means. Rameir said, Hamoitzes chaver is more than that. Hamoitzes chaver if someone meets his friend after the 12 months passed, and speaks to him, what is he like? Someone broke his foot, and it healed. A doctor met him and said, he told him, come to me. What am I going to do? I'm going to heal it for you. How am I going to heal it? It's healed. I'm going to break it. I'm going to heal you. I'm a better healer than whatever it is. I'm going to break it again, and I'm going to do it.
Typical surgeon.
Yeah.
I can do a better job than whatever the guy did before you. So
it's like a French doctor. If I recall, many years ago, my brother broke his finger in yeshiva. Or I should say, someone broke his finger in yeshiva. And he went to a doctor in France, and they put it together. And then he came home. It's for me. And then he came a doctor, and he came home. They took an X-ray. The doctor says it's not good. If I remember correctly, to break it again, to heal it again, or something like that. So because it wasn't.
To you?
Did not happen to me. No, I hope I would remember. Anyway, so that's basically speaking to someone about a velus after 12 months passed is not the right thing to do. You don't mention someone. It's like going to someone to heal a foot that has already healed, and the only way to heal it is by breaking it and then healing it. Don't bring up. It's literally taking off a scab that went on top of a wound. You're ripping the scab off to bring out the wound again. Don't do that. So he's saying that after 12 months you don't say anything. Okay? But the question basically is, what's that? Why is the doctor saying, "Come to me"? You should know that my ointments, my healing, my medicine is much better than whoever you healed you beforehand. So, but the question here is, we have in this place that we see that 12 months you should not speak to someone at all. You should not greet someone and say, "How are you doing?" And at 12 months you can do Nechama Ve'elim. And in our Mishnah just before, we said that from after the Shloshim, you go on and do everything you want. So what do you? Can you speak to him? Can you not speak to him in the time period between the Shloshim and the 12 months? So for the Gemara, it's not a question. When we say that 12 months you should not greet a person properly, and you should speak to him about Nechama Ve'elim, that is if the person is sat Shiva for his father or mother. Because that is a much greater level of Shiva, a much greater level of Avelus. But if
my mother's right now, Techshana.
Yeah. So Techshana, she cannot do this, she cannot do that, and she cannot
no,
go
but
to
I tell her.
So lahalacha, it's not like that. I don't think the halacha is like that. I think it's something that many people just, you go to your regular way, you can't. Yeah.
It would cause her more tsar if I didn't, call her
to say hi, yeah. So, all the other 5 or more people that you need to sit shiva, brother, sister, son, daughter, all the wife, spouse. Those people, yes, after 30 days you can greet, everything is fine. But for parents, 12 months, you have to give them the covenant, and you can say Nechama Ve'elim for 12 months. So why do you say that for a other relative after 30 days you should not speak to him about the Tanchumim? It says in the Mishnah, the Tandaban on top, it says that after 30 days don't speak about the Tanchumim. Maybe say, like we said here, that you should minatzat quietly. Now don't mention, like bring the whole thing up, but mention quietly a little bit about Tanchumim, like we said before. Just like here, after 12 months you should not give Tanchum for a parent, but quietly on the side, minatzad on the side, you can go mention it and you can say something to him. Let him do the same thing for another relative that passed away. And for the Gemara, husband, let him also say minatzad. In a chanam, it's not true. And my when the Mishnah says that he doesn't speak to him, what does it mean? You don't do regular Tanchum where you mention a person that is deceased and you bring it up. But here you can do it quietly on the side. But you can do it inside. Okay, so finish this piece where it speaks about the 30 days, 7 days of Pashtus. We know today the first 2 days, yes, are the hardest day of Shiva, and they ease down from day 3 to 7. And after 7, I believe everyone can greet as you want, but someone that's an avel for a parent has a few more halachas than someone that sits avelus for a sibling or for a child or for a spouse. And that's the end of this thing. But here, speaking about a different concept, the Gemara is going to go on and speak about a different concept. When someone traveled from out of town and someone passed away on Sunday, and he shows up on Monday, let's say, and he finds out that his siblings are sitting Shiva. Why? Because someone passed away, a parent passed away. When does he start Shiva? We know, which mentioned before, we know that someone did not know at all that someone passed away. And even on day 8, he finds out that a person that he's supposed to sit Shiva passed away. He sits Shiva, called a Shmuel Kloiva. Within 30 days, if you hear about someone passing away, you sit Shiva, and then you continue the Shloshim until the 30th day of the passing, but you start Shiva.
He goes 7 days.
So 7 days. What happens here is a little different. Within the Shiva, he shows up. So does he start Shiva as soon as he shows up and finds out that my parent passed away? And does he start counting 7 days then? Or does he continue counting with the other siblings that are sitting Shiva already? Tana Rabbanan. So he's going to say, the difference is where he's coming from. Tana Rabbanan. Ovel Gimel Yom Shoinim, a ovel in the first 3 days. So if Balim Makim Kolev Moinimum. So basically, someone passes away on Sunday, and the guy traveled from a Makim Kolev, from a close place. What's a close place? Anywhere within 10 pasais. That's what it says. Because a person can walk during the day, he can walk 10 pasais. How much is 10 pasais? 200. Check that. 238 miles. That's what a parasa is 2.8 miles, and 10 pasas. So how much is 10 pasas?
No, 28.
20. Sorry.
Not 280,
that
but
makes-
28 miles.
That makes more sense.
28.7.
Wait.
You said 2.8.
Yeah. You're right.
Those clip.
something else.
Right. Sorry. Yes.
I was going to say
That-
if they could walk 200, but 200.
no, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Under 30 miles.
Yeah. So that makes sense. Where's 24 miles from here? If you think about it, how far is 24 miles? It's not too far. 24 miles is doable for a person to walk.
Just over the marathon. It takes about 2 hours.
Yeah, basically, yeah. If you spread it out, so it's whatever. It's not that crazy. So a person goes, and so if he comes within that radius, if he lives within the radius and it shows up, let's say on the second day or on the third day, within the first 3 days he shows up, it's considered a kalev that lives close by, and he sits shiva, starting from the day that he's there, but he counts like his siblings count. So if it's a second day shiva, he just sits 6 days. If it's a third day shiva, he just sits 5 days. He doesn't have to start the recount. Bob and Makam Lach, if he comes from a further place, further than Tempat Pasa, he counts himself. That is within 3 days. So basically this. If someone comes from a far place, doesn't make a difference, day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're always going to count 7 days, your own 7 days. Whenever you show up and you find out the person passed away, you count your own 7 days. If he comes from a close place, but he comes day 3 and on, he also does his own count. The only time that you would count with the other siblings or the other relatives that are sitting shiva, if you live within the 10 parasa and you came for the first 3 days. Otherwise, you will always do your own count. Okay? Again, day 1 to day 3, if you live close by, count with the siblings. Anyone else, you do your own count. If you come after 3 days, close place, count 7 days by yourself. If you live far and you came from day 1 to day 7, you count your own 7 days. Okay, that's Rabbi Shimon Ayman. Rabbi Shimon says, if he lives close by and he shows up on the 7th day, you count with the other people. So basically, you only sit shiva for a little bit. And the Gemara is later going to say, on the 7th day, you only sit shiva for a few minutes, not the whole thing. So we're talking about when the people are still sitting there. So we're talking about the guy showed up, and he only sits mama shiva for an hour. If he comes the next day and he finds out, he sits 7 days again, because now he found out the Shmuel Klev, and now has to sit all 7 days. This is what I'm talking about. If he lives close by, so Reb Shimon basically disagrees. The Shimon says if someone lives close by, he will always, if he shows up within 7 days, he will always you sit together with the other people. If he lives far, even if he comes on the first day, he will do the first day for sure. He's going to do his own counting, but even if he shows up the second day, he will count his own 7 days. Okay, so we just mentioned that for the first 3 days, if he comes from a close by place, he counts with the people that are sitting shiva already. So basically, if they set a few days already, he continues with them. He doesn't sit the full 7. He adds another stipulation to it. The oldest person in the house, the b'choil, or the oldest person in the house, whoever is considered now the one that takes care of the house, the gadol habayis, the oldest of the house. If that person sits shiva, then if he shows up in the first 3 days, he counts with him. So again, we have now 4 differentiations. We have if someone comes from far, it doesn't make a difference what day you show up, you count your own. If someone comes from close, if it's the first 3 days, you count with them. If the other 4 days, you count your own. The first 3 days, if someone lives close, the only time you count with the people is if the oldest of the house is sitting shiva there. Okay? So it has to be the oldest of the house is sitting there, and you're close by, and you come within 3 days. Anything else, you count you have your own count. So the Gemara is asking a question now. Next question, the Gemara can be learned in 2 ways. One way is that the oldest person, what if the oldest person, someone passed away, and they're all going to the Levaya, and then Yaakov Avinu passed away. And imagine only the Uven is taking Yaakov Tetzol to be buried. And his other 11 siblings are staying in Mitzrayim. When do the 11 siblings start Shiva? And when does the Uven do Shiva? We know Shiva starts when someone gets buried. But these guys are not going to the burial. When do they start? And it's halacha. That's actually it's an actual halacha of today. They take someone to Tetzol to be buried. The people start earlier. But here, the question is a little twisted. We just said that everything depends on the oldest of the house. If the oldest of the house is sitting Shiva, anyone else that shows up sits Shiva, according to the, if he comes within the first 3 days, he sits Shiva. What happens if the oldest of the house is traveling with the body? The Reuven is going from Mitzrayim to Etzisol, and he's traveling with the body to Etzisol, and then he bears it. Does he, because he was there during the death, and he was there during Levaya, when he comes back, does he sit Shiva, finishing with the other guys, or does he have his own count? So they asked in Yeshiva, asked the question, the oldest went to the Beis HaKvadas to take care of the burial. Mahu, what is the halacha? How is he going to count the Shiva? Is he going to count when he comes back, continue because he was there, or he has to count his own count? Tashma, come in here. Even if the oldest went to the Beis HaKvadas, he still counts with them. He still counts.
Even if he returns at day 2.5, so he continues from day 2.5.
So does the Gemara is going to ask? That doesn't make sense. When we had a differentiation over here in this Tanna Rabbanan over here, that within the first 3 days is different than anything else. So there is a difference. You have to say there's a difference here. When is this talking about? He counts with them. That when if he comes by himself, he So here you have to give a little explanation. On page Chav Alf on base mentions all of a sudden mentions the God Labais is here. All of a sudden we have a God Labais, and if he is here, if someone shows up in the first 3 days, he sits Shiva with them. Otherwise, he counts himself. What happens if the God Labais shows up the first 3 days? What happens if he shows up day number 4? Does he sit Shiva? What happens if the God Labais lives within the 10 pasois, lives in a close place, and he shows up between day 1 and 3, he shows up at the Shiva house? Where does he fall into the thing? Which said everyone else, if the God Labais, if the oldest one sits Shiva, then he counts like the other ones that are sitting there. What if the oldest he comes within the first 2 days, and he lives within the limits, what does he do? According to this piece, we technically would say that the God Labais actually does his own thing. Because he does not, because he's the oldest, he doesn't count whatever the other guys do. He does his own thing. So if he does his own thing, so here's the question: if he goes to bury someone, and then he returns, what does he do? So you say that he counts with them, but he counts with them. He said he always does his own thing. That's the Gemara saying here. And it's the Gemara like Hashem. There is a difference. Now there is a difference. The Gemara is actually going to say that also the oldest of the house, if he shows up within the first 3 days of the Shiva, he actually will count like his brothers and sisters. So the oldest interestingly, doesn't make a difference for himself. If he is sitting Shiva, everyone, if he's sitting Shiva, so anyone else that shows up within the first 3 days, if he lives close by, will do the Shiva count like everyone else. If he's not sitting Shiva, doesn't make a difference when anyone shows up, they will always start their own count. But if he's there and he comes within the first 3 days, he will count like the siblings. If he comes anytime else, he counts his own count. So it's a little bit of a differentiation. But here, basically, this is what goes on here. That if the oldest of the household goes and buries the father or the mother, and then he comes back within the first 3 days, he will sit Shiva like everyone else. But if he comes back after the 3 days, he does his own count.
Rashi says something interesting. Rashi says, Mahu,
he did not
He's
go.
giving a reason.
Yeah, he did not go. He was there when they passed away. The only reason is because he got the job. The Tosfos here, this big Tosfos explains it a little bit different, a more interesting way. And he says like this. He says that maybe this question is different. He says that the oldest is one second. All the siblings are in the city, they're there, and everyone is there. The father passed away, the mother passed away, and now, including the oldest, and now they send the messenger, one guy, you take the body to Eretz Yisrael, you go bury the body, and you come back, sit with us. So now, if the oldest is there, sitting at home, and this guy shows up, now this guy is coming from a very far place. going from America to Israel and going back, that's way more than 10 pasah. It's way more than 28 miles or 24 miles, whatever it is. So when he comes back, is he considered like someone that's coming from far? Or is it considered that he was there? The only reason he left is because he went to bury, and the oldest one is sitting there, so continue counting. And according to that, that makes more sense to the Gemara answers that if he's coming within 3 days, okay, that doesn't make a difference if you're close by. If he comes within the first 3 days, because you were here, and the oldest is also sitting there, you'll sit shiva like those people. You'll continue sitting whatever days is left. But if you come back after the 3 days, then you consider it coming from a far place, and it's after 3 days. You'll start your own count, because you have to count from the moment that the body was interred into the ground, and not from the moment that they stopped seeing the body when they left, when the body traveled.
And halachically today, the people that stay local, they start sitting shiva
Right
once
away.
the body moves away from their presence.
Like the Gemara says, Kihada Amalu Rav Lebnei Atzlafoni. Rav told the sons of Tzlafoni, the also begat Lasa, that these guys showed up. He told them like this: they also begat Lasa. Those that showed up within the 3 days, Limnu Badaicho should count with you. Whoever is sitting, the Loyasa begat Lasa. Those that did not come within 3 days, they came later. Limnu Nafshai, they have their own count of 7 shiva. Now your question. Rava told the people of Mechuzah, Atun, those, the loyas lisa basa asa, those that did not follow the hairs, follow the body all the way to the burial, when you turn around, when you turn yourself around, mibava de abula, from the door, the gates of the city, aschilamana, that's when you start your count. They would go do a levaya till the airport. Pretty much. Then you turn around. As soon as the body is in the airport, the body leaves, you start. That's when the person starts shiva over here. Okay. We'll stop here because this is starting a whole new sugya. Do next week again.
This whole sugya started from